Jennifer Lopez is known as a Hollywood triple threat that can act, sing, and dance. This has made her a true superstar in the entertainment business. But all those accolades have clearly gone to JLo's head, and other celebrities have had to warn us about her diva attitude in the past. First up, of course, we have Mariah Carey. Even if you're not familiar with many of JLo's feuds, I'm sure you know that Mariah Carey hates her. That's because Mariah has not been shy about throwing shade in her direction. These two have been feuding ever since JLo started to make music, and started to steal her shine. Then when Mariah was asked about Lopez in an interview, she famously replied, quote, "I don't know her." Years later, when Andy Cohen brought up the beef on his show Watch What Happens Live in 2014, Jennifer Lopez played the whole thing off, saying, quote, "I don't have a feud against her at all. I know from back in the day, I've read things that she said about me that were not the greatest, but we have never met. Like, we don't know each other. I would love to meet her, and I would love to be friends with her." But then JLo was a little more savage on the Wendy Williams show when asked about the feud in 2016. Lopez said, quote, "She's forgetful, I guess, we've met so many times." But Carey doubled down in another interview where she added that she still doesn't know Jennifer Lopez. When Mariah had a mishap of her own during a disastrous New Year's Eve performance, Lopez took a break from the high road and liked an extremely shady tweet about Mariah. The tweet said, quote, "Ever seen an accident you couldn't take your eyes away from? That was her tonight." If you're wondering where this feud started, it all goes back to Mariah's ex-husband and music executive, Tommy Mottola. After getting married in 1993, Carey divorced Mottola in 1998 because he was very controlling. And to get back at her, Mottola started up JLo's career and did everything possible to make JLo a star, instead of Mariah. JLo sampled a number of Mariah-esque songs. There were even allegations she straight up copied some of Mariah's songs, but tried to make them more of a hit. All because of Mottola. But Mariah knows she still came out on top, adding, quote, "After all that shit, Loverboy ended up being the best-selling single of 2001 in the United States." So basically the whole feud is over career competition and the fact that Lopez was in cahoots with Carey's controlling ex. Rosie Perez. You'd think that JLo and Rosie Perez would be great friends, considering how much they have in common. Both women are dancers, are Puerto Rican, and grew up in New York. But the pair are not close, and it would be more accurate to say that they actually hate each other. According to Perez's 2014 memoir, Handbook for an Unpredictable Life, she has plenty of negative stories to share about JLo. In her memoir, Perez shared a story from the set of In Living Color. She wrote about Lopez, quote, "All of the girls were coming into my office complaining how she was manipulating wardrobe, makeup, and me, all to her advantage," and added she was acting like, quote, "some ghetto bitch," screaming and pounding her chest. JLo ended up leaving that show after 2 seasons, but the feud between the pair continued, and Perez claimed that Lopez would speak negatively about her whenever she got the chance. Even worse, Lopez was allegedly two-faced. She would talk trash behind Perez's back, but be nice to her face. Brandy. In the midst of the Mariah and JLo feud, Brandy publicly supported Mariah, making it clear she does not like JLo. In July of 2017, Brandy took to Instagram to share a photo of herself hugging Mariah Carey with the caption, #SheKnows Me, an obvious reference to Mariah's infamous "I don't know her" comment about JLo. All the comments were flooded with people speculating over the caption, and the consensus quickly became that the photo was a dig at JLo. However, Brandy later addressed the caption, writing, quote, "Oh my god, what happened? I swear to goodness, I didn't know what the fuss is about. I love this pic and now everyone thinks I'm throwing shade. At who? This is funny. Can't take this one down. I love this picture and whenever I'm throwing shade, it's not questionable, you know that I am." Later adding that Mariah does in fact know her. Mariah supported the post by commenting, quote, "I sure do." Even though Brandy is trying to convince us it's nothing shady, I honestly don't believe it. Next up, Nicki Minaj. It's long been rumored that Jennifer Lopez is a huge diva, and the fight that her and Nicki Minaj had while on American Idol brought up both of their diva sides. In 2012, Lopez was a judge on American Idol while Nicki came on to perform, and things got tense fast. After Nicki finished performing, she went over to the judges table and asked, quote, "I was hoping maybe I could come back and be a guest judge. JLo, can you scoot over a little bit?" JLo then responded, quote, "I don't know if there's enough room for both of us." Then Minaj took it up another notch backstage when she said, quote, "She didn't seem to be having it, but she's gonna have it." But she later added, quote, "We were just joking around." But it's clear the bad blood is still there. When Lopez performed at the 2015 AMAs, she sang a part of Minaj's song Anaconda. But I don't think Nicki got the memo that it was going to be happening, because when the camera panned to Nicki, she did not look happy. Fans totally saw the shade and started tweeting about it that night. Rihanna. Rihanna and JLo started feuding right around the time that JLo was seen getting cozy with Rihanna's ex, Drake. This all happened in 2016 when J-Lo and Drake took a photo backstage at J-Lo's concert. Once the photos came out, everyone assumed that they were dating, which probably got the attention of his exes. A lot of fans felt the whole thing was most likely a publicity stunt, but Rihanna took the rumors pretty seriously and lashed out online because of it. A source said at the time that Rihanna suffered, quote, the ultimate betrayal and dubbed Lopez desperate and a traitor. This was because Rihanna and J-Lo were really tight at one point, and Rihanna even got support from J-Lo during rough times with Drake. Then in December of 2016, Rihanna unfollowed J-Lo on Instagram, making her stance very clear. Jenna Dewan. When the pair started alongside each other on World of Dance, they seemed like they got along great. Lopez was a producer and a judge, while Dewan was a host and mentor on the show. But sources revealed that when the camera stopped rolling, the women hated each other. One source said about their relationship, quote, Jenna can't stand Jen's over-the-top theatrical fakery. Jen never fails to ham it up when the cameras are rolling, and she hijacks the show. It seems she'd prefer if Jenna just stayed in the background. The insider continued that J-Lo is a micromanager who tells everyone else what to do. Because of all her input, Jenna felt excluded and felt like her voice was not heard. Although there is a chance that this feud is not accurate because when Dewan's team was asked about the feud rumors, they denied them. Ojani Noah. Jennifer Lopez has been married 3 times before. Her first and shortest marriage was to Cuban waiter Ojani Noah. Although their relationship ended in 1998, it's clear that Noah cannot stand her, and whenever asked about Lopez, he does not hold back his negative feelings. Back in 2006, he was actually set to release a juicy tell-all book about Lopez called The Unknown Truth, a passionate portrait of a serial thriller. But before it was set to be published, Lopez was able to stop it with a lawsuit. She argued that publishing the book broke their confidentiality agreement, and the courts agreed. From that lawsuit, she won $545,000 in damages, and Noah was forbid from criticizing or casting in a negative light or otherwise disparaging Lopez. Noah's name was brought up once again when he threatened to leak an intimate tape of the two of them on their honeymoon. Lopez then filed a $10 million lawsuit against him. When asked why the relationship ended, Noah blamed Lopez, saying, quote, I was looking forward to being with her for the rest of my life. It didn't happen. She made the choice of her career instead of me. And finally, Jennifer Lopez herself. Nobody has done more to warn us about J-Lo's sketchy behavior than herself. And some of the things she's done in the past are too terrible to ignore. Back when she tried to score a role in competition with actress Claire Danes, J-Lo said some harsh things about her competition, saying that Claire Danes does the quote, same thing with every character she does. Then Lopez bashed Winona Ryder, saying that she was not a big fan of her work. And finally, Lopez took aim at Gwyneth Paltrow, saying, quote, tell me what she's been in. I swear to God, I don't remember anything she was in. Some people get hot by association. I heard more about her and Brad Pitt than I ever heard about her work. Then in a different interview, Lopez decided to take aim at Madonna, specifically bashing Madonna's attempt at acting. Quote, do I think she's a great performer? Yeah. Do I think she's a great actress? No. Acting is what I do, so I'm harder on people when they say, oh, I can do that, I can act. I'm like, hey, don't spit on my craft. Aside from dishing out unnecessary shade to other celebrities, Lopez also has a reputation for being incredibly rude to service people. One United Airlines employee told the press how much of a diva she was during her flight. Apparently, he asked if she wanted a drink, and she replied, quote, I just said, what can I get you to drink? But Jennifer refused to even acknowledge me. She turned her head away and told her personal assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Even though the stewardess was trying to serve her what she wanted, she refused to look, and made her assistant speak for her. It's so ridiculous and an unnecessary power play. But this interaction is nothing compared to the maid that was fired for asking J-Lo for an autograph. The maid later spoke with media and said she asked J-Lo's 2 assistants, who rejected the autograph. Then a day later, the hotel said that Lopez complained about the incident, and that maid was fired. Dakota Johnson has been doing pretty well for herself in Hollywood since the start of her career. I mean, of course she's been in a few scandals and has had some drama in her life once or twice, but for the most part she's doing pretty well for herself. On the other hand though, through her encounters and relationships with other people in Hollywood, a lot has been revealed about the actress, so let's talk about that today as we count down the celebrities who tried to warn us about Dakota Johnson. In at number 5, Ellen. In late 2019, actress Dakota Johnson sat down for an interview with Ellen, and some people see this interview as the one that kicked off the whole Ellen is mean scandal because of how rude Ellen was. During the interview, Ellen berated Dakota about the fact that she wasn't invited to Dakota's birthday party. People saw this whole debacle as incredibly unnecessary, but the part that people loved the most was how Dakota shut Ellen down. When Ellen said that she was mad for not having been invited to Dakota's birthday party, Dakota in response said, quote, actually no, that's not the truth, Ellen, you were invited. Thank Fan continued, "Last time I was on the show last year, you gave me a bunch of crap about not inviting you, but I didn't even know you wanted to be invited." Dakota was even backed up by one of the show's producers who reassured Ellen that she was invited and that she just didn't show up because at the time she claimed that Dakota's Malibu party was quote a little too far for her. Dakota shutting Ellen down and not being made to look like the bad guy like Ellen intended was great for fans, and following Ellen's cancellation, fans started to realize just how rude that Ellen was. I think in a way Ellen's actions warned us about Dakota Johnson because it showed us just how little BS Dakota is willing to put up with. It was almost like a warning for people to not rub the actress the wrong way because she can and will clap back without hesitation. In at number 4, Melanie Griffith. Most of the time when we're growing up, our parents know best. I mean, obviously we're not going to admit that while we're still under their roofs, but later in life you realize that they often had a point. When it comes to Dakota Johnson's parents, I think they knew about what Dakota's future was going to look like, and so they tried to steer her in a different direction away from Hollywood. In a recent interview, Dakota revealed that while she was growing up, her parents discouraged her from being an actor. Dakota said from a young age she'd always dreamed of being an actor, but because her parents were already in the film industry, they wanted her to stay away from it so that she could have a normal childhood. The fact that Dakota's parents tried to stop her from becoming a performer could have been a warning to her future fans that big things were coming if she went through with it. As I said before, parents often know best when it comes to their kids, and so in this case, they probably knew that Dakota was going to be super successful and that her life was going to change, so maybe they wanted to have her live a normal life for as long as possible. This could also have served as a warning to fans about Dakota's determination. In an interview, Dakota revealed that her parents made a deal with her and her siblings, saying they would continue to be supported financially if they did not enter the film industry. But even with that rule in place, Dakota decided to pursue her dreams, even if that meant she would not get financial help from her parents. Before we get into the next celebrity who've revealed hidden secrets about Dakota Johnson, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're there, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this. In at number 3, Cara Delevigne. One of the things that fans are often curious to know about their favorite celebrities is their sexuality. This isn't necessarily something that every celebrity talks about, including Dakota Johnson. The most Dakota has spoken out in regards to her sexuality came from an interview in 2020 where she suggested she was exploring other avenues that she hadn't before, even saying that she might be bisexual. This new revelation was a shock to some fans, but not to others who were paying close attention to her dating life around 2016. Because back in 2016, Dakota was spending a lot of time with Cara Delevigne, so much that it was rumored that they could even be dating. But at this point, Dakota had never said anything about her sexuality other than being straight. A fan even tweeted in 2020, quote, "I think it's time to remind everyone that Dakota Johnson and Cara Delevigne were possibly dating back in 2016, sharing tons of photos of themselves looking pretty coupley back at that time." Fast forward to 2020, Dakota did an interview before she started dating Chris Martin, where she said, quote, "I've been in a phase of my life where I'm fascinated by young women coming to terms with their sexuality. I guess by proxy, I've been experiencing that in my own life, and it's very interesting to me." In a follow-up, Johnson said she was taking that time to explore her bisexuality, but she also joked she might just be giving herself to the Lord after a trio of explicit 50 Shades movies coming out. Fans took this as Dakota hinting that she might have been bi during her time with Cara. And at number 2, Matthew Hitt. From 2014 to 2016, Dakota was dating musician Matthew Hitt on and off. This was during the time she was filming for 50 Shades of Grey, obviously very busy with work. Matthew Hitt is the lead singer of the indie rock band Drowners. They broke up around 2015 for a small time, but eventually got back together later that year. A source said about their relationship, quote, "Dakota and Matthew have dated on and off for the past 2 years. They didn't get a chance to see much of each other recently because their work schedules didn't align. She's been up in Vancouver shooting the 50 Shades trilogy." A source revealed that back when they first split in 2015, Hitt was not comfortable with Johnson's life because of her role in 50 Shades of Grey. Quote, "Her life was getting too crazy and it wasn't something that he wanted to be a part of." Hitt was disappointed when she chose her career over him. And finally, number 1, Nikki De Jager. One of the instances that fueled the Ellen DeGeneres is Over party was a testimony of sorts from YouTube beauty guru Nikki De Jager, or Nikki Tutorials, where she talked about how she was treated when she was invited on the Ellen show, saying that it wasn't at all what she was expecting. Nikki spoke about the atmosphere at the Ellen show, saying that, quote, "The friendly, welcoming atmosphere you see when watching Ellen isn't the reality in the studio." Nikki said that she was expecting a warm welcome when arriving at the studio, but that she was instead, quote, "greeted by an angry intern, was a bit overworked," saying that she was expecting something more fun and lighthearted, but instead received Teletubbies After Dark. Nikki also told sources that she didn't receive the same VIP treatment as everyone else, saying that she couldn't even use the bathroom that was closest to her because it was reserved for the Jonas Brothers, who were also on the show that day. She also remarked that Ellen Ellen was very cold and distant when the cameras were off, making for a very different vibe on the show. When Nikki spoke out against Ellen for experiences on the show, it was almost like she was backing up that initial idea that Ellen isn't as nice as she pretends to be. This was also sort of warning that Dakota was right about Ellen, and what people initially thought about the talk show host when Dakota and Ellen got to that scandal was all true. Dakota initiated the idea that Ellen is a nightmare, but Nikki made it blow up even more. People didn't want to believe Dakota in the first place, but after hearing about Nikki's experience, they realized that Dakota was right all along.
Vanessa Hudgens was once Disney's golden girl after she brought the company so much success following the success of the High School Musical franchise. But back in 2020, Vanessa got into a pretty big scandal that pretty much destroyed her image and had a lot of people turn against her. Some were shocked to see the side of her, but maybe we had already been warned about this dark side to the actress in the past. Today, let's talk about it as we discuss the celebrities who tried to warn us about Vanessa Hudgens. At number 5, the Jonas Brothers. As we are all aware, Disney likes to keep their stars as clean as possible, so when they're caught being a little more adult and risque, that is definitely a problem for the company. This became Vanessa Hudgens' reality in 2007 after some of her private photos were leaked. Vanessa opened up about this scandal years later, saying that it was traumatic for her, having lost her privacy in that moment. It was also a big deal for Disney, who was trying to cover the story up and keep her image intact. Since she was one of the faces of the High School Musical franchise, it was important to the company to make this all go away. Joe Jonas even opened up about this time in Vanessa's life, saying that while he and his brothers were working for Disney at the time, he remembers the day the scandal broke and how the executives had Vanessa in their office for the whole day trying to deal with that mess. Joe even said that the other executives approached him and his brothers and praised them for not having had a scandal like this. This put a lot of pressure on the Jonas Brothers to always stay perfect in the eyes of the company. In a way, the Jonas Brothers warned us about Vanessa and her image. On one hand, the Joe Bros kind of exposed the lengths that people would go to give Vanessa the special treatment she required to get her out of this mess, and this special treatment could have impacted her ego, making her into who she is now. At number 4, Chrissy Teigen. In early 2020, when the world started ending, a lot of celebrities were voicing their thoughts and opinions on the global health crisis, and many of them faced backlash. From Madonna and her bathtub rant to Evangeline Lilly and her dismissal of the lockdown protocols, celebrities started facing backlash for their comments and actions, but the one celebrity who faced the most backlash in regards to their pandemic comments was actress Vanessa Hudgens. You might recall her comments about people passing away due to COVID and the backlash that ensued afterwards, but you might not recall who came to support her when she was being cancelled. Chrissy Teigen stepped up to defend the actress when she was getting torn to shreds online and in the news. In response to Vanessa being cancelled, Chrissy tweeted in her defense saying, quote, "Sometimes people, especially famous people, are gonna say some really stupid-ish, and so are you, and they and you will learn from it, and hopefully their history says they're good. It's okay, and at the same time, wow, they had a really dumb moment. But you don't have to ruin their lives. This isn't about me this time, but it will be one day or it'll be you. But yeah, today it's Vanessa. LOL, and no, life isn't ruined for everyone. But you are damn well trying your best. Just stop." Unquote. Chrissy also ended up facing some backlash for those comments because she was seen as defending the remarks that Vanessa made. This could have been a warning about Vanessa, but as we would later come to find out, Chrissy is a little problematic herself, so one problematic person supporting another could spell disaster. Before we carry on talking about Vanessa Hudgens and the people who warned us about her true colors, why not take a moment to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it so far, and while you're at it, consider subscribing to the channel to see more videos like this one. At number 3, Austin Butler. When you love someone, you want to show it, and what's a better way of showing it than defacing a natural United States property? I'm kidding, but Vanessa Hudgens was not. While on a romantic getaway with then-boyfriend Austin Butler, the two etched their names surrounded by a heart into a rock in Sedona, Arizona, and Vanessa posted a picture of it to her Instagram. Come to find out a little while later that what they did was totally illegal, and they ratted on themselves with that post. Since being made aware of her illegal activity, she removed the post and was ordered to pay a $1,000 fine for damages, but the outcome could have been so much worse. The maximum fine for this offense is $5,000 and a 6-month jail sentence. In a way, Austin and Vanessa's actions could have been a warning about the actress's sense of entitlement. She didn't see anything wrong with defacing the rocks in Arizona and didn't really care about the consequences, and that sort of speaks volumes about the type of person someone is. If you don't care about how your actions affect others, then that can kind of make you a bad person. At number 2, Zac Efron. When you think about Vanessa Hudgens, most people would picture her in High School Musical carrying around that Disney vibe, but after learning about her dark side, you might change your thoughts about her. Basically, Vanessa has been known to often let her jealousy get the best of her, and oftentimes this leads to people getting their feelings feelings hurt. Take for example this one time when a fan approached Vanessa's ex, Zac Efron. The couple were out shopping at a department store when a young fan went up to Zac to tell him how much she loved him. She was apparently super nervous and stumbling over her words, and so instead of being an understanding and respectful person, Vanessa butt in and started making fun of the young fan. She started laughing at the poor girl and humiliated her in front of her celebrity crush. Now, even though Zac didn't exactly do anything in this specific situation, he did bring out a side of Vanessa because she was showing a jealous side when someone other than her was getting Zac's attention. This could have been a warning about how she is in a relationship, seeming to be quite emotional and attached, but also serving as a warning of the type of person she is when she's not on set, showing that she's not afraid to be rude, even to the people who support her the most. And finally at number 1, Selena Gomez. Back in 2012, Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez seemed to have gotten into a feud over a Vanity Fair cover. See, at the time, they were promoting their film Spring Breakers, and so there was a lot of attention on them, but it seemed like Vanessa wanted that attention more than anything because she got really upset when she found out that Selena was getting the Vanity Fair cover and not her. She played it off like Selena was only getting the spotlight because of her relationship with Justin Bieber at the time. A source close to Vanessa told sources, quote, "Vanessa won't let it go. She feels absolutely furious, especially since she has a much bigger role in Spring Breakers than Selena does," end quote. This side of Vanessa certainly wasn't flattering because she was giving off such diva energy. In a way, her feuds with Selena was a warning about how seriously Vanessa takes her time in the spotlight and just how she isn't willing to share that fame.